Welcome to What the Flick, everybody. Alonso Duralde, Ben Mankiewicz. The penultimate episode of season 1 of Looking, episode 7, Looking for a Plus One. I knew that once they got Patrick and Richie together, Richie, not Frankie, I got the names now, that Patrick was going to mess it up, and ta-da, he has. But it's interesting that we get to meet the mom who clearly has hovered over him so much. Maybe more than she deserves to have,
Right, maybe she did less hovering than he imagined her hovering.
Right, but it is sometimes with parents, like they do a little and then you just exacerbate it in your own brain and you let it, reverberate more. It took me half the episode to realize that was Julia Duffy.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't. It took me until now. But she was very familiar, and I remember thinking, I got to check. I'm trying to figure out. I think my problem, looking as a quality show, there's no question. But my objections to it, I think, unfortunately, all go back to Patrick. Like, this is a character who, whereas I always end up comparing it to Girls because it seems like a companion show in many ways.
I think the network is not unintentionally pairing them.
They have no problem with us doing that. And while their narcissism is difficult at times, they are not completely unaware of their surroundings. And Patrick strikes me as among the most clueless protagonists, like a different, like the cluelessness of Lord Grantham on Downton Abbey is amusing, right? It's like, oh, Jesus. Patrick, misreads signals from everyone all the time, including himself. He wants Kevin to kiss him, and then when he does,
that was actually, I felt like one of the most mature things he's done all season was to okay, you're drunk, your boyfriend's here, I'm trying to figure out stuff with my boyfriend, let's not have this moment that we could very easily have because we're in another place and we could blame it on being drunk later.
I don't mind don't do it, but in the manner of the way he puts him off will discourage Kevin, I would think, as opposed to, it's a terrible idea.
Right.
There was just he doesn't get people, and it continually sort of puts him behind the 8 ball. He doesn't get himself. He doesn't get his mom. He's all of a sudden his twice in one. To mistakenly take the moral high ground when Richie very kindly says, I'll drive, you're driving to meet your mother and show off your boyfriend. You have every reason to be acting like a dick, and you are acting like a dick. And I'm prepared to give you a 100% pass.
Right.
Smoke some weed, I'll drive, take a deep breath, fall asleep if you want. He's angry at that. And then when his mom, at a moment we can have a nice moment with his mom, he does it again. I don't know, man. I don't like people like that. I don't like Patrick.
He's exasperating, but if he were in my life, he would drive me crazy. As a character, though, I find him interesting. I find him to be somebody who is stumbling their way to figuring out who they are and what they want and how to get it. And I am enjoying that journey. I'm enjoying watching him make those falls and take those missteps. Because I think, I don't know if it's just because Jonathan Groff is so charismatic, or just that I see I have hope for what Patrick could be once he gets his shit together. But I kind of want to see where it all goes. I want to be there as he figures it out.
I'm not finding this charisma in Jonathan Groff right now.
Really?
I guess, but and part of it seems to be the way the character is, and it may be so much so that I have come to so sort of be frustrated, exasperated with the character. There was that moment when once they were the best man or whoever it was, or the father maybe was, they were toasting, giving speeches, and and he has that look of they say something awkward and he's like, and I'm like, that's it. That's his whole life is this sort of this look of this. So it's so hard to capture him yet in the 7 episodes. I want a real moment with him. And I obviously, because you root for people, I'd like him to get there, but it just seems like he goes through life complaining about, you're not going to believe the day I had, and then he recites a day that 88% of people have all the time.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I'll believe it.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. So you worked late, and then there was traffic, and your boss asked you to do extra stuff. Wow, what a day!
Call the media.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Augustin, meanwhile, has pretty much ruined his relationship with Frank over, wimping out of the art show and
hiring a hooker,
to
fuck him and not telling him.
Yeah, that's a big bite of the budget. $220. That's a thing.
An hour. Presumably, they're more than an hour.
It depends on how efficient you are, I guess. Do we think now he's going to come moving back in with Patrick and bring all of his crazy toxic baggage with him? I guess so. So Patrick's going to be juggling
for storytelling. If they're together.
Sure, of course. So Patrick's now going to be juggling roommate Augustin, estranged, Richie, and horny Kevin. So
right, and that
season 2,
and that manner in which he presented, the horror. I guess I was also super annoyed at the way Patrick presented Richie to his mother.
The way he described him,
right, and then his mother says, like any parent would, "Wow, directionless, cuts hair, doesn't ever want to do anything more, doesn't care about life, never wants to go to college." She goes, "What a catch," right? 'Cause based on that description.
when you sell them like that,
right.
yeah.
And then I was so pleased that she said, "Well, how do you want me to react when you tell me that?" And then he's like, "I knew you'd feel that way." You're like, "Well, dude."
Well, because you created that.
Right,
Yeah,
you just created it.
He's the master of the self-fulfilling prophecy, and yeah, he goes into situations, says and does the absolutely wrong thing, and then, of course, bitches about how he can't find the right guy, or this date was ever going to work out. It's like, well, yeah, because you sabotaged yourself the way you do at nearly every turn. The one time I think we've seen him, or one of the few times we've seen him sort of take the right step, was when Kevin kind of called him on, like, actually being committed to work. And then he went in that weekend and fixed all that stuff and did the thing. And so he's not incapable of it, but he's just this dumb shit 20-something guy. And as we've all known or been, that dumb shit 20-something guy who just needs enough kicks in the pants to sort of, get their act together.
And if I were Richie, I would take advantage of this situation. I would get out. Like, Richie is presumably not directionless and has some aspiration.
Sure.
It's not college, but I'm...
Not owning his own place, we know that.
Well, I think what Richie objected, he probably wouldn't mind owning his own place. Doesn't want someone else to characterize that for him.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm not defending that. Yeah. That was another bonehead move on Patrick's part.
Yeah, and just they don't seem right for each other in any way.
Kind of no, but I think
he wants to slum it, but he doesn't even know what that means.
I think,
or he thinks it means it literally. So he thinks, therefore, the people who he would traditionally slum it with, that they're somehow less than.
I think what we learned from episode 5 is that Patrick at his best is the right person for Richie.
Right.
But we get Patrick at his best so infrequently.
Right.
That's the problem. And so I think the course of the show is going to be Patrick learning to embrace that part of himself that isn't the self-defeating, stupid, presumptuous guy, and then be worthy of having Richie in his life. I don't know.
Before we go, will Peri Peri Chicken work?
I'll tell you, Dom is wrong. He should be out in front because this is an investment opportunity. Show somebody else how to make the fucking chicken and then be
got a guy who makes
present.
the chicken, right? Greet people and then talk to people. That's part of the thing. Is you're this institutional waiter that's been at the same restaurant for 20 years and everybody knows you.
You're a local character. You're selling you, and so again, always listen to Scott Bakula. That's the message here. He knows.
Right. He's such a good guy.
Yeah.
So when I hang out with Scott Bakula and his is that his ex-wife? I've now forgotten. Was Dom married or is that?
They were a girlfriend. It was his girlfriend, and now they're roommates. Yeah.
Yeah, and she clearly thinks she being a good person is trying to very subtly tell him.
Why don't you listen to Scott Bakula?
He wants to help you.
Yeah.
All he wants to do is help you.
Yeah.
Right. But again, Don's faults are identifiable. They're stubbornness and hubris and a determination to sort of make it on your own. Otherwise, it doesn't count.
Right.
Which is silly, but it's totally identifiable.
Yeah.
Totally recognizable. Okay, so there's just one more. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, but as we know, there is a season 2.
Yes.
All right, we'll be back next week, guys.